You're listening to Alcoholics Alive, where recovered members of Alcoholics Anonymous share their experience on how they live AA as a way of life. None of our participants get paid or speak for AA. Here are your hosts, Shank and Wayne. Shank, I was at a meeting last night, and I was going to add this to our shrapnel list, but I can't wait for it.
Okay.
This guy just made this comment that sometimes you have to crack a few eggs to protect your sobriety. Ew! I don't know what does that.
Did you ask him?
No, I didn't ask him. But what does that mean? You got to
I
crack
don't
a
know.
few eggs to protect your sobriety.
Well, I'm good then. I crack a few eggs every day.
Well, then, right. I guess you're safe. Yeah, I don't know. I'm speechless at this point. So anyway, this maybe after we get off here, I'll go crack a few eggs just to get a little better hold on my
Just for good measure.
sobriety.
Love it.
Hey, welcome out there. We're glad you joined us. We got a great guest today. It's his. I guess this will be his second time on. I don't remember what the topic was last time that he was here, but he probably doesn't know either. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I can't help you on that meeting shrapnel. I have no idea
What does
what
that
that
mean?
means. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, like, people are going to get hurt for me to protect my sobriety. I mean, I think that's what he's saying.
That's kind of what it sounds like, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, I could crack a few heads
You know?
to protect my sobriety.
I mean, it seems kind of extreme. I feel like you don't really need to go that far to stay sober.
You wouldn't think. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sobriety date, August 16, 2002. I have a sponsor. His name's Isaac. And I sponsor other men in Alcoholics Anonymous, taking through the steps best I can. And yeah, I'm busy, man. I'm as busy as I've ever been in AA. So I'm grateful for that.
Cool.
Nice.
We're going to go right to our topic. Shank, what is the topic?
Our topic today is One Big Tent. Atheists and agnostic AA members share their experience, strength, and hope. So this little blurb says, atheists, agnostics, non-believers, and secular alcoholics have been members of the AA fellowship since its earliest days, making significant contributions to the development of the program, helping to swing the doors of AA ever wider. But finding their path has not always been easy. One Big Tent is a collection of stories originally published in Grapevine, which represent the shared experience of secular AA members who have struggled with alcoholism, yet ultimately found a common solution in AA. These members share how they found their place in AA, work the program, do service, and sponsor others. Secular.
Secular. I got to look that one up.
It's a good topic.
Yeah. My first question here, Chris, if you would, how did you approach the concept of a higher power while getting sober?
Well, I guess the short answer is I didn't, really. I would say coming to AA, I was squarely in the atheist camp, and which is, believing that I don't believe in God. I don't believe in organized religion or any of that stuff. And, and drinking has a way of softening, I guess, the ground there that you come into AA on. And I think that I got to a point where I was willing to at least listen to some other ideas on the subject, or maybe even suspend them for a period of time until I got sober. And I think there's a lot, and I think everybody's journey is different on that front. But for me, I mean, I just had to put it aside for a moment and just start taking some actions in AA. And if I had come in as an atheist, I think over time, in Alcoholics Anonymous, taking these actions, working the steps, really working with other guys in Alcoholics Anonymous, I mean, you will see things in AA that, like the book says, that are lie beyond our synthetic knowledge. Like I can't really say how this is possible or how this person got well in AA and their life has transformed, other than to recognize that there is some power in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous that I can't really put my finger on. I can't really name it or call it or identify it, but there is a power, and I can't deny that. And so if I had come to AA as an atheist, I'm probably more of an agnostic with a twist, meaning that I believe there's a power greater than myself, right? But I can't tell anyone else what that power should be, and I still don't believe in organized religion. I don't believe that I can have the power to tell anybody what they should believe in. Everyone's got to have their own journey, and I think it's the same in Alcoholics Anonymous. But there's no doubt in my mind that there is a power here, and it's not really blind faith. All you have to do is look around the rooms and talk to a few people, and you will see things that really defy logic. I mean, everyone on this phone call, on this meeting today should not be here, at all. There's no reason. So, but yet here we are.
Yeah.
How about you, Jay Wayne?
Well, as Chris was talking, I've never thought about this, but I'm pretty sure this is true. When I got sober, I had never heard of the term agnostic and had never heard of the term atheist. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't think I did. Yeah, I was probably delusional in that I just kind of I mean I didn't give any thought to what other people were thinking, but I think I probably just thought that everybody believed in something. When I got sober, I've said this before, I was just confused about spiritual stuff. I was confused about religion. I had some personal experiences as a young kid with, the girl breaking up with me, and then I would pray to God for the girl to come back, and she'd come back, and then I would that's just an example of that's how elementary my kind of concept was. Or uh, my dad said he was going to whip me when we got home, and I would pray for him not to whip me, and we'd get home and he wouldn't whip me, and then I'm like, well, damn, that prayer works. Stuff like that. So I had tried some religious stuff to get my life in order and to stop the madness, and to, ultimately probably quitting drinking would have been a byproduct of that. But you know what? The reality was I never really did what they said to do. And I was confused about what they were teaching. So when I got here, I was confused. I didn't know what I believed or what I didn't believe. But I did definitely believe there was something out there. I was taught just to not put a label on it, and try to keep an open mind and forget what you think you know. And as a new person, I personally didn't have a problem with it. I mean, hell, the first day I got sober, God told me to pray, and he said, it doesn't matter if you believe it or not. I got down on my knees and I prayed. Been sober ever since. So I didn't fight it. Or I mean, I had a lot of questions and doubt in my mind, but I just I just did what people told me to do. So now, Shank, we know you were devout when you got here, right?
Well, I had a lot of experience with religion, and I always believed in God. So I was confused a little bit. I grew up in two very opposing faiths. Um, Maybe not opposing, but just quite different. And one of them is essentially a cult. So um, I had questions. I don't think I definitely heard the term atheist, because one of those faiths, I mean, we just all knew atheists were going to hell, and we tried to save them all. But I had never heard the term agnostic. And I
It's
just
true. It's
remember,
true. It's true.
well, and I had just always, um, you know, I the term agnostic, I ignored it when, and being in meetings, and I'm like, oh, why do they keep using this term agnostic? I don't know what that means. I don't really care. Quite honestly, I just knew that something in my life needed to change. And when it was brought to my attention that it was probably drinking was a problem, that was more of my focus. When I was told, do you believe in God? Yeah, sure. You don't, I was told that I didn't have to know what it looked like. Now, my first, year-ish, I was probably the most religious I've ever been in my life.
That
And
jailhouse
that
religion.
it worked for me. It was
Yeah.
really good. You know what Alcoholics Anonymous has done for me, even in those early days, is Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me and allowed me to keep an open mind. So I could sit in church services, and they were the only ones that were brought into that prison, and, kind of question a few things they were saying, but know that there was a power there. And that I didn't necessarily have to believe exactly like everyone else in that room did. I
Mhm.
still felt the presence of a higher power, and I was good with that. And I did believe in, several of the things that they were saying. I could look it up, I could relate, I could read about it. I could read about the history of things that had happened. Um, but Alcoholics Anonymous really has allowed me just to have an open mind and say, that one thing probably doesn't sound right, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, Shane, did you have the white rosary beads when you were locked up? You did, didn't you?
I did not. I did not. But I thought
Okay.
about it. I didn't consider it.
We're
It's
Baptists,
fun.
man,
It's funny
not
how everyone,
Catholics.
yeah, it's funny how everyone finds God when they get locked up. You know what I mean?
100%.
These guys, I was like, I just saw you on the corner, man, 2 weeks
Mhm.
ago.
That's
Now
right.
you're going to church? Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about this is I don't know, as far as Alcoholics Anonymous is concerned, whether you're atheist or agnostic or believer, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And they don't, AA doesn't have an opinion on that. And we sometimes, it seems like we act like it's something new. People coming into AA that aren't believers. I mean, the book that was written a long time ago says that something like half of us were atheists or agnostics.
Right.
So
Right.
it's not a new issue. And it's sometimes, it just seems like it's over discussed sometimes. I mean, it's like, I personally have sponsored, lots of people that come in and they don't know what they believe, or maybe they say they're an atheist or agnostic. And for me as a sponsor, or even just somebody helping them through the steps, it's never been an issue. It's like, and I know not all AA members do that, but when somebody says they
Right.
don't believe, I'm like, okay, well that's fine. You don't have to. Let's just keep taking the actions. It's fine. I'm not arguing with you. That's so it's never really been an issue for
But I do
me.
have a theory on that as to why people discuss it a lot.
What's the theory?
Lay it on us.
I think that what I hear in meetings is that I'm sober today because of God. And people say that in meetings.
They do.
And I don't think that that's the whole story. I think that that's part of it. Okay. Because I'm sober today because I believed in a power greater than myself. And I took a series of actions that I didn't believe in. And that is why I'm sober. You know what I mean? You can't have one without the other. You can believe in God all you want, but if you don't take a single action that's outlined in that book, you are not going to stay sober. I don't care who you are. That's why we've got priests in
That-
AA. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
So, so I think people hear that, if you're new and you're sitting in a meeting, you're like, I said a prayer and then all of a sudden I'm in an AA meeting. I've been sober ever since. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
the guy that doesn't believe is like, well,
Well,
so
that would be my general qualm with a lot of things in Alcoholics Anonymous today, I think. I was just in a third step meeting, and most everyone sharing has similar experience, and they got on their knees and said the prayer out of the book. But like the book doesn't tell you that you have to do it that way.
right.
Similar to what you're saying, like if you hear a lot of people saying God got me sober, if you're a newcomer, you may think, wow, I am screwed.
Yeah, but the flip side is still true, right? I can't come into AA and expect to have every AA meeting cater to my insecurities and my
That's right.
sensitivities. You know what I mean? If I am desperate enough and hopeless enough, I will stick around long enough to hear the whole story, right? And the whole story is that no one's here because they just did one thing or the other. They're here because they did both. They believed and they took these actions, you know?
Yeah.
I believed my sponsor had a solution. So I started doing what he was doing. And then I came to believe in my own idea of a power greater than myself, you know? And so you can't be all things to all people. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't control. I mean, you hear a lot of crazy stuff in an AA meeting, so,
You will. Yeah.
you can't control it.
What's funny about it is a new person who is skeptical and doesn't believe anything and always thinks people are lying. Wonder why they would believe that when when somebody says God got him sober. I mean,
Yeah.
you think instead of pushing them out, they'd be like, that guy's full of it. Maybe
Yeah,
pursue it
you
a
already
little
got a
bit.
confidence problem coming in,
Right.
Yeah. So I get it.
Yeah. What's your
So
next question,
my
Shane?
next question, all right,
I like how
is
you have questions ready.
how has your understanding evolved during your sobriety?
So I think I touched on this a little bit, and I think this goes to the idea that what Jerry was saying, you don't really have to believe anything. You know what I mean? You can believe or not believe, it's fine. It's almost irrelevant. If you start doing what's outlined in that book, you're going to believe in something. And I think the idea is, what I tell people, what AA is really trying to get you to do is get you out of the driver's seat. You know what I mean? My selfishness and my self-centeredness, that ego, that I think I know everything. Really what it's saying is like, look, you driving the bus here has not worked. You need to get out of the driver's seat. You need to, turn your will and your life over to the care of God. As you understand him, right? Whatever that is. And for me, in a lot of ways, that was AA as a whole. There was the principles in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? That I could really rely on. That I knew if I lived by these principles, right? And I started living by these principles early on. I didn't have to go through all 12 steps, right? Be where you say you're going to be. Do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. That's a spiritual principle, right? And I started living that way, and I started conducting myself in that way, and I started taking the actions in this as outlined in the book, and it was revealed to me. I started to believe there was something bigger here. It wasn't my sponsor, it wasn't the group. I mean, they were a big part of it, but there was something else going on when we all get together. There's a power here that is just indisputable. You will see things happen in AA that can only happen in AA. People recover here. I've gone to court with people. I've seen things happen that just defy logic. I've seen people literally come back from the dead, come out of sanitariums and psych wards and hospitals, and really just have unbelievable lives. So, I mean, that to me is how it's changed. I've really tapped into that. And the issue with that is, for me, right, as opposed to someone who believes in a faith and an organized religion and maybe has that implemented in their life, for me to stay tapped into that belief, I got to be busy in AA. You know what I mean? I got to be busy, because I get connected to God when I'm talking to another alcoholic. That's my connection. That's my church. That's my confessional. You know what I mean? That's where I'm on my knees, and I'm as close to God as I'll ever be, because I'm as empty of self as I could possibly be in that moment. So that's the side effect. Like, I'm unlikely going to be in a place or move to a place where I can't go to AA meetings anymore. That's not going to happen for me. I need to be plugged in. You know what I mean?
So
So
would you consider yourself an agnostic then still?
I would say an agnostic with a twist, right? Twist is that
I did write that down, actually.
I believe for myself that there's a power greater than. So an agnostic says you can't prove it. That's what an agnostic is. You can't prove God. I cannot prove God for you. I cannot say, here's my God, you believe in my God. I can't say that. I can say for myself that I have found something in AA, right? I believe in a power greater than myself. What your journey is going to look like, it's going to be up to you. I can't tell you what to believe or what not to believe, you know? So,
An agnostic with a twist. I have to. I'm going to have to meditate on that.
I'm going to start implementing that, I think,
I
with some of the people I help.
I like it. Yeah, agnostic with a
well,
twist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it gets me. Here's the thing. I mean, I can't square religion. I mean, Catholicism, Buddhism, you know, Muslims, Judaism. I mean, who's right? I
It's
don't know.
it's
I can't tell you that you're right or wrong. I don't know what's the right way. Christianity, Catholicism, I don't know. I don't know, but I know what's right for me, right?
yeah. I had a
So,
thought, but I lost it. I don't know why people always get tied up with tying it to religion. I mean, so you can be a
hey,
believer and you can practice spirituality without it being tied to a religion.
I know, but you can't say
The
God several
the
times in the steps and not connect it to religion. I mean, that's just human nature.
well, if you can, I did because of good sponsorship and
Right.
because
Eventually,
I had the crap beat
yeah.
out of me and I was willing to go with it. The book even says when we use the word God, use your own conception. I don't think that's a trick.
No, no, no. But how many new people coming in AA have read that in the book?
Well, if they're reading the book, all of them, but probably not many of them. That's why it's
Right.
important for us to read it to them.
100%. I agree. There's
Yeah,
nuance. It's important. There is nuance. It's
yeah,
it. Yeah, I agree.
yeah. I think one of the things that's happened to me over time is I've lost my fear of God. Meaning that I kind of had this idea, not completely, but a lot of people think that there's like this get you God and
Mm,
that he's watching everything and every move and he's involved in everything. I never really was there,
mhm.
but I had questions about it because I heard people talking about it, and I so that has left me as a result of you know of working the steps and helping people and just living life sober
Yeah,
and whatever kind of fear I had of like man, if I do the wrong thing something's going to get me, that's gone.
yeah.
Yeah, that
It's no
which
way to
is
live.
no, not at all. And
Yeah.
it's hell, if it was true, it would have already happened to all of us, right? I mean, it's
Oh
like
yeah.
we would, it,
Yeah. They would have. God would have had his comeuppance on us a long time ago.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I mean the that I've come to know in AA and the power that's here in these rooms is I mean it's just beautiful, man. It's just a loving, just wants the best for all of us, And but you got to stick around long enough and get plugged in to the degree where you can really understand the nuance because the books has all the information you need. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
in the chapter we agnostics, when I read that, I felt stupid because it had made all the same arguments about religion that I had made, and I thought I was really novel in making those arguments. I thought I was unique in these like
they were your
counter arguments.
concepts, huh? You had
Well, yeah, I felt like I was like smarter than the rest of the world, and here these guys are already, 60, 75 years ago, they had already figured it out. You know what I mean? I think they're like the book says, probably more than half of our membership was probably in that camp at some
yeah.
point. And but I think when you have the word God on the steps, that's what newcomers see before they even get a sponsor or in the book. That's what happened to me. I saw that. I was like, you know,
So
I
let me
just
ask you this. Do you think that you would have been able to effectively, I mean, this is kind of conjecture, but just with the way that things are going in Alcoholics Anonymous right now, do you believe that taking God out of the book or replacing the word with something else would get more people sober?
no, I don't think so. I mean, I think this is like the truth is that really what I was mad about is that I couldn't be God, if I'm being honest. you know.
Yeah.
I just, I just didn't like the idea that there was anything out there bigger than me and more powerful than me. So, I mean, no matter what you call it, someone's always going to have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Because what you're asking them to do is turn their will and their life over to something else, you know? And I don't mean like a doorknob or something like that. That seems kind of crazy to me, but I mean something that you could tap into that's real in AA, and even if that's the ideas that your sponsor has for you for a little while, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, you know, I guess you got to have the right sponsor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which
You could
is,
go wrong on that front.
yeah.
Right.
Well, poor sponsorship or lack of sponsorship, I should say, is probably an issue in AA.
Probably.
I would
Yeah,
imagine in some meetings, not in the meetings I go to, but I would imagine
yeah.
it
Well, of course
is.
not in the ones you go to. We've already established they're the best.
I don't know about the best, but they're pretty good. AA is pretty good up here. I'm not, there's no lack of good AA meetings in the area, so we're
Yeah.
really lucky. If you don't want to, if you can't get sober up here, it's because you don't want to. I mean, let's put it at that. So
Shank, what else you got?
So you've touched on it a little bit, but how has being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous helped you grow spiritually?
I mean, if there's any spiritualness to me, it's because of Alcoholics Anonymous, I would say. I mean, um, I think that if I think of what it is to be spiritual, I think is to be, other centered, right? Humble, which is, fully accepting kind of where I am at this very moment, no judgment, um, good and bad, right? Not saying that I'm always going to be, a great guy in AA, but if I think about that, I think about the things that have me tied into getting out of myself in Alcoholics Anonymous. I think that, you know, I would have no shot at being a decent human being without consistent action in AA. And that's the thing for me. It's like I can't maybe it's a curse, I don't know, but I don't have the kind of bandwidth. I can't get too far away from doing the stuff in AA before I get to be unruly, and that's just my personal nature. Um, I'll be yelling at my wife or my kids, you know what I mean? It starts like that. It never looks like a drink, but you know, I'm just not a great guy to be with. And so I need to stay plugged in. That's how I get connected spiritually, and that's how I get centered. And so for me, it's a great joy to do that. My life is situated where I can, you know. I'm lucky that my wife and I split the week with AA meetings, and we're both equally as involved, and it's good. I think we have a good thing going, and but I think if there's anything that's spiritual about me, it's because of the actions I'm taking in AA, and that's it. You know.
Yeah, and I think that steps, I mean, that's what the steps were really, I guess, there to do, to help us form a relationship with a power greater than ourselves. I think the book says that.
Right.
And then it's to help us to use Bill's term, perfect and enlarge our spiritual life. And so, we got to be involved to do that. We've got to be actively engaged in the steps. I think that's what 10, 11, and 12 are really designed to do. They're there to help us to keep looking at ourselves and keep turning towards God for help, and then I guess most importantly to reach out to other people. And I think that's probably one of the things that AA has done for me is it really has helped me to get out of myself and to realize I'm not the governor of the world, and that I have been given a gift. And we have been given, the sobriety and a new way to live, and that really the most important thing we can do is to try to pass that on to other people, and to
Yeah.
try to, for the best, most that we can, set an example of how to live a principled life. I've probably gotten a little more unruly over the last 4 years than I had the previous 30, but I'm just tired of putting up with crap. It's
You know
just,
what I find so awesome about Alcoholics Anonymous is, I walked through the doors having no problem, seeing God in the steps. God, I was willing to take back one of those childhood faiths, no problem. Which I guess I did for a while, but what I find very interesting is, I've never considered myself atheist or agnostic, but there have been times, in the last 11 years where I've questioned my relationship with a higher power, whether it was
yeah,
because something good was happening, something bad was happening, nothing was happening, I felt bored. Um, there have been times where I've questioned my relationship with a higher power, and Alcoholics Anonymous already has all the answers for that. I
yep,
just go, I don't have to know. It can change, it can look different. I can explore other spiritual activities while still being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. And, that led to me at one point being able to, I just had such resentment against a pastor from when I was growing up. And I was able to call him up and have a conversation with him. And what was incredible is realizing through that experience that he had questioned his faith. And like I hadn't even ever thought about the
mm,
fact that, someone who is the head of a church or could question their faith. And he explained it to me beautifully. And he actually left that sect of religion and um, is doing something else religious now. So it just further opened my mind to be able to just go with the flow and show up for my commitments and show up for life. And things are not happening to me. I'm not being punished. I'm not, like I've just been able to show up and kind of pivot where I needed to and rely on the people around me. And sometimes they're higher power, which is
mm,
beautiful. I never thought that, of course, I never thought I would question my faith because once I got here, I mean, I have this footing and I'm
right.
connected and everything is amazing all the time. But that's just not, it hasn't been like that the whole time.
Yeah, it does sound like that sometimes, though, when you hear people share, right, in meetings. I mean, that's probably to
Hmm.
Chris's earlier point. That's probably what a lot of people hear is that,
Yeah.
damn, they said a prayer and God just came down and fixed them, and that's
Yeah.
not going to work for me.
Or they said a
Well,
prayer. Of course, I'm going to bring it up. They said a prayer and they got out of their 25 felonies, or they started AA and they didn't have to go to prison or jail. And I'm just like,
yep.
okay.
Mm,
I
yeah,
like the line in the book, and Jerry probably knows where it is because I definitely don't. It says, "We grow along spiritual lines through self-sacrifice and service for others." Did I get that right?
yeah. It's something like that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And I prescribe to that wholeheartedly. I mean, I live by that. If I'm doing that, I feel like I'm connected. I try to
yeah.
keep it simple.
So is there anything
I,
else that maybe, you tell people you're helping when they come in, or like have you ever been super angry being agnostic, or have you ever explored other faith? Like, is there anything else relating to kind of higher power or God that you want to touch on?
I've found everything I need for faith and spirituality right here in AA. I haven't had to go look anywhere else. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like if you got to go and explore and um, I encourage it. I encourage everyone to have their own. I try to keep the concepts with new guys straight out of the gate. I say, look, this idea of a power greater than yourself is that we've come to a place where our self-reliance has failed us. So you've got to understand that you on your own accord are not going to get very far. And that just look at the evidence. You know what I mean? Any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. That's what it says, right? And if that's the case, where am I going to go? Who am I going to ask for help? What am I going to look for? I've got to turn towards AA, and for a while that can be a power. I don't really get too into it. If they can do that, if they can start taking actions as outlined in the steps, I know that they're going to see things very quickly that they will believe in. You know what I mean? Especially do a fourth and fifth step. So
hmm
if we can get them that far, I know that they're going to have their own experience, and you could see it happen in them. They'll start sharing at meetings. They'll be like, "Oh man, I did this, and then I saw that." You know what I mean? And then you're like, "They got it," you know. they just got to stay in touch with it, So
I love the part in the book in We Agnostics where it says we need to ask ourselves but one short question: do I now believe, or am I even willing to believe, that there's a power greater than myself? So it doesn't use the word God or the word higher power.
that's right.
It says a power greater than myself, and we just have to be willing to believe. We don't really have to believe. And it says as soon as a man can say he does believe or is willing to believe, we emphatically assure him that he's on his way. So, I mean, I think that's one of the reasons AA has been so successful is the idea of, right, God as you understand him, or just being willing to believe in a power greater than yourself, and our third tradition. I mean, those two things open the door really for anybody
That's right.
to get here and to get help. And I was thinking, so I mean, since I've been sober, I've had all kinds of. I've been a member of two different churches. One of them was, if you didn't have a snake, they'd give you one at the door when you came in. I mean, it was like,
Good
yeah,
Lord.
and
That's how they do it down there in the
and
South,
I've
huh?
done, yeah, and I've done nothing, and I've done other Native American stuff, and I think one of the great joys is the ability and the freedom that we're given to explore different stuff.
That's
And
right.
people should try things and explore things and investigate things and have their own experience and have fun doing it. And here's one thing this is so simple, most people miss it. I mean, throughout the years of my sobriety, I mean, I've had times where I thought I was at the right hand side of God. I had so much faith. And then I've had times where I have just questioned and challenged and everything, and have wondered, like, what in the heck is all this about? This is all just a bunch of bunk. And but through all those times, and even times now when I have doubt, here's one thing that's a fact: that ever since I joined Alcoholics Anonymous, I've been sober.
Hmm.
So, and prior to that, I couldn't stay sober. No amount of people or bars or money or whatever, nothing could keep me sober. And since I joined here and started doing a few things, I've been sober. So that I always fall back on that.
That says a lot.
But yeah, but I do believe in God.
You're a bad case.
Yeah.
I know you
Incredible.
believe. I know you're a believer, Jerry. Snakes and all.
I love handling a few snakes every once in a while.
God.
God, it's so fun. Hey, it shows true faith
There you go.
if you don't get bit.
I've never been bit, thankfully.
Oh, Shank, should we move on to meeting shrapnel?
All right, Chris.
My favorite.
Meeting shrapnel, our
We might
segment
have
of
some of
lore,
your
myth,
originals in there.
and sayings
No,
frequently
I
heard
read
in
it.
AA.
No.
Here we go. Shrapnel number 1. I came to believe.
I like this one. I like it. I like this. I don't understand the other two. I've never.
It's
even
your
heard of-
experience.
But isn't that what the steps say?
Well, does it say it that way?
I mean, you got to come to alcohol. That's the first step, right? I admitted I'm powerless over alcohol. My life's unmanageable. Second step is I came to believe in a power greater than myself, right? And it became to, right? What's the next one?
Okay.
Well, it's I came, and then I
Right.
came to,
Came to,
and then I came to believe.
right? And that would be the third step, right? I came to believe. No, you don't see it that way.
Well, I'm following you. You've heard this one before?
Oh yeah, you hear this a lot.
You've used
And
it.
I might even have used it. Yeah. I mean, you got to come to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? For me, maybe you already see. Here's the thing: you already believed, so
Yeah.
that's why it doesn't make sense to you.
Yeah.
I didn't believe in anything before I came to Alcoholics Anonymous, so I had to come here. I had to read the book, talk to a sponsor, take some actions. So I came, right, and then I came to, which is
I always thought that I
coming
came to was like you're out of a blackout. But maybe that's also just my
I
experience.
mean, that is also true, but I've got to come to the
Like-
meeting.
Like, is anyone waking up out of a blackout and what a
Well,
white
Shake, you were in a lot of
You're in the
blackouts.
AA meeting.
I need to come to the idea that on my own, right, my life run of self-will can hardly be a success. I have to come to that idea.
Okay.
And then I have to come to believe that there is something that can relieve me of that, right? The bondage of self. To me, those are the first three steps.
So is
Okay.
this a simplified version of the ABCs at the end of how it works?
I don't think it does quite the same job.
I'm
But
overthinking it.
yeah, I mean, I think it is. But I mean, I think if you could get people to say that A, B's, and C's, I think that would be better.
Oh, so okay.
Okay,
But,
all right.
You know, but then you'd
That's
have to actually read some literature to get that.
Good
Well, that may
point.
be an option.
So
We may just replace it with the A, B, and C's.
I wonder what ABCs are going to look like in the plain version, plain language book. Don't get me off track. I've heard.
Did we have
huh?
Did we have Chat GPT rewrite those? I think we did. I can't remember.
I think we did
That's
too.
right.
I don't remember what it was. I've heard this one a lot. I can, with the utmost assurance, say that I've never said it.
Not you, Jerry. No.
It's well, there's a lot of them now I have used, but not this one. This one's I don't know, it's just silly to me. I mean, I guess it could be true for people, but I can just see this old Clubhouse Joe dude at the Alano Club. Listen, fellas, I came to believe. You don't
I
have
think-
to take it all at one time.
I think, like a lot of these sayings, it leaves out a lot of nuance. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
probably, I think in general, it's less helpful than to just sit down with somebody and go do the book. You know what I mean? Which is
So do
probably
you
what
want
they
to
deserve.
keep it or scrap it?
Well, I know how you guys roll here, so you definitely already on the scrap train. So maybe I'll abstain on this one.
You
Can I-
can't abstain.
You gotta pick one, Chris.
I'm gonna keep it. I like
Okay.
it. I'm gonna
Okay.
keep it.
What about you, Jay
So-
Wayne?
Well, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna scrap it. And
Shocker.
Shank, you're the shrapnel guru and
Yeah, I made my case.
referee,
the
but
best I
this would
could
be
for it.
this might be a good one to throw out to our 11,000 followers.
Yeah, to our listeners. I think we haven't done that in a while, and it's always interesting to see the responses we get because technically, I Came to Believe is in the book.
Is it? Where's it at?
Isn't that in the book?
There's
Came
a
to Believe.
grapevine book called Came to Believe.
I'm confident in my argument that I've made for the meeting shrapnel. Put it
Okay,
out
well,
there to your fans, see what they say.
Okay, we'll send it out. Email us at Alcoholics Alive.
Yep. So we're gonna get it out there.
Mm-hmm.
But Shank
can-
didn't vote. What's your vote?
You can.
I don't
Shank's
vote. I'm
sh-
sending it
Oh,
out.
Oh, she doesn't get a vote? Oh, okay.
No, Shank's the referee. She can do what she wants to do.
That's right.
Got it.
All right.
We should keep
Send-
it or scrap it.
Yeah. So send
Alcoholicsalive.com.
us some notes on email or Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr.
Nobody ever votes to keep it, so you're in a
Threads.
quandary.
That's not true.
That's not true. We post results.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I came to believe. If you want to keep it or scrap it, let us know. What's next,
All right.
Shank?
Meeting shrapnel number 2. Give your higher power a hand for the chips you hold.
Chris, you know you've heard this.
I
You've heard
haven't,
this before.
but I'm going to scrap it on face value.
Oh, snap. Super scrap.
Super scrap. All right.
Come on. That's just, I can't
You've
cuss.
never
That's
heard it?
just foolishness. I've never heard it, no. I mean, you hear similar things, you know what I mean?
think I heard it at your old home group one time.
Celebration means, yeah, you definitely heard something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
Give my higher power all the credit. Just gross. Come on, man.
Give your higher power a hand for the chips that you hold. So this is said at the end of the chip ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
So after all the chips are given out, the chipmunk, that's the guy or the gal or the person I should say now, that's giving out the chips. That's what
right,
they'll
Jerry.
say at the very.
There you go.
That's what they'll say at the very end.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, give your higher power a hand for the chips that you hold.
Must be a thing down where you guys live. I've never actually heard that. But
I've
you
heard
hear
it.
similar things, you know. I mean, it's like,
I've
yeah.
heard it everywhere.
yeah. What
All
about
right, Jerry.
what about your sponsor that's taken all those phone calls over the years? Sorry ass could get to a meeting, all the rides you got. What about all the
Well,
AA
most people, when
members?
they're giving
You
their
know what I mean?
Emmys speech, go ahead and thank all of those people during that time.
I mean, man.
This is for all those that didn't get a chip, that they can celebrate where they are.
Do you want to keep it or scrap it?
Oh, I'm scrapping it. This is one of the
Okay.
dumbest things ever.
It's out of here.
What are you going to do? You keeping it?
Let's scrap it.
All right. They say that your old home group quite a bit, Shank.
Oh, I know. I know.
All right. All right. What's next?
Last shrapnel ism. I sponsor myself.
Jesus.
I
I'll be
think the
honest.
previous-
I haven't heard that in quite some time, but I have heard it.
Okay, I had never heard it until recently.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People, and maybe maybe they make the case for sponsorship in the big book somewhere. I think that they do somewhere, but maybe not. I don't know. But what people will say is sponsorship's not in. There's no reference to sponsorship in the big book. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they'll say. To me, it just seems like you just want to do whatever you want to do, and you don't want anybody helping you. You know what I mean? It just seems like as soon as someone says that, I'm like, all right, man, good luck.
Yeah.
So do you still hear it?
No one says that, but people
Okay.
come into AA and they're like, I don't have a sponsor. I mean, so what is that? That's what they're saying. I sponsor
Okay.
myself. I mean, if you don't have a sponsor, then who's your sponsor? You. I mean, you're your own higher power. You're running the show.
So if you're in your ism, that means you're sponsoring yourself. You're taking your will back, or what?
That's right.
I mean,
Are you in your ism today?
I've
Chris.
never heard that. But
Oh,
you either have a sponsor or you don't, right? I mean, it's one or the other,
yeah.
I mean, you could be unsponsored but still have a sponsor. I mean, I think that's different.
Well,
What
I'm
about you,
I'm sober, but I still got all these isms I'm dealing with. I've heard a lot of people say I sponsor myself. I've never heard ism until I think it was a guest or somebody at the group one night said it. I can't
Yeah.
remember
I heard it recently.
where it came from.
Yeah, that would bother me if I heard that.
Yeah,
That's,
and then
I
you
couldn't think
hear-
of anything else the rest of the meeting. I was like, ism, I sponsor
I mean,
myself.
I understand what they're saying. I mean, but just say it like it is. Like I'm defective. You know what I mean? I'm defective. I'm still
Yeah.
defective.
That's
I
right.
make mistakes all the time. I get angry. I'm impulsive, you know. I don't have restraint of pain tongue. Just say what it is. You don't need to make a cute term around it, and because it's not cute.
That's right.
Because if that's true, then you're hurting people in your life.
That's right.
That's right.
So why make it a joke? It's not a joke. You know what I mean? Some people's isms get them locked up, right, Shane? It's not funny. Judge didn't think it was funny.
That's right.
I don't know. It was my ism, but
That's your
maybe.
ism. This is almost as bad as everyone is my sponsor. You ever heard that one?
No.
Oh my goodness! Come on.
Yeah.
You never
You're
heard that?
throwing it back.
Yeah.
Everyone is my sponsor.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I've heard some people say that. Used to hear that quite often.
What are they trying to say with that though? What's the nuance there? That they're saying like the group is my sponsor?
Well,
They're
it's
saying
probably
they
that
don't-
you can get help from everyone, right?
That's right. That's what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have a sponsor, so everyone is my sponsor. So everybody that I listen to in a meeting and talk to
So they can-
provide some help to me.
They can work the room until they get the right answer. Is that what they're saying?
Exactly. Sure.
Sounds like a winning recipe.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. Or what's the other one? If you sponsor yourself, you got an idiot for a sponsor. You've heard that.
I have
Yeah.
heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I've heard that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do
this
you
one's-
want to keep the ism, Chris?
I'm scrapping all of that. Whatever you
I'm
just read,
scrapping.
scrapping it.
Scrap.
All right, I was grabbing this out of here.
All right. Well, we're going to throw out the challenge or the vote for I came to believe. So send us your vote. Keep it or scrap it. All right. Chris, we appreciate you coming on,
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
being
it.
with us. It's a pleasure. Appreciate your insight. And if you're out there, whether you're a believer, a guru, Reiki master, homeless.
Unbeliever, intellectual.
Can't say homeless anymore. What is it? The unhoused? If you're
Unhoused?
unhoused, kangaroo, atheist, agnostic.
You told me one time even billy goats can get sober.
Even a billy goat can get sober, and but you don't want to use them for your sponsor. AA is one big tent, and there's
Sure.
room for everyone that suffers from alcoholism and wants help. So remember to take the steps and be free.
Freedom.
Thanks for listening. If you have a comment, suggestion, or just need help, you can email Shank and Wayne at freedom@alcoholicsalive.com. Remember, we're recovered members of Alcoholics Anonymous, but we do not speak for Alcoholics Anonymous, nor do we get paid. Join us next week for another great episode.